Alrighty, we're doing a tag. Hello and welcome to my channel, The Danish Readaholic. My name is Silka and today I am doing a book tag. And I am doing the rereading book tag. This has been created by Lisa Does Life. I'll be sure to link her down below. Go and check her out. I have been tagged by Jem over at Bookish Gems. And obviously go check her out. She's amazing. I'm gonna do this tag now. It seemed like a lot of fun. I don't actually reread a whole lot like I want to. I just don't do it. So I think I've kind of taken a little bit of a twist on this. I'm not really 100% sure how I'm supposed to do this, but I've kind of gone about this in my own way, I think. Maybe I haven't. Maybe I've done it exactly like I'm supposed to and I just didn't really realize because it's been a while since I've seen Jem's video. So anyways, let's do it. So the first prompt is a cozy reread. And as I said, I don't really reread a whole lot. So I've kind of gone about this, whereas with the prompts, when it says like cozy reread, I'd be like, okay, if I had to reread a book and it had to fit the cozy vibes, which book would I go for? And that is how I've done the prompts. So for cozy reread, I have gone for Heartstopper because I felt like it's very cute, it's very cozy, it's very light and kind of fluffy, so it's very easy to dive into, and I feel like that is a great cozy reread because, like, in my experience, well, not in my experience, but in my opinion, being like cozy is just being like really, really relaxed and just chill, and nothing in the world can bother me when I'm this cozy. That is like the vibe I get from the prompt and that is the vibe that I also get from this book because it's just very light and easy, breezy, beautiful cover girl. Sorry. I am so sorry. I'm very tired right now, but I felt like Heartstopper would be the book that I would gravitate towards if I had to go for like a cozy reread. Next up we have a fun reread. This was difficult for me because I don't tend to read like a lot of humorous books. I did have a couple, like I was debating doing like one of the Chris Colfers. I was also debating doing like some of the books from my childhood because a lot of them are ridiculous and I do have a good time reading those. But I actually decided to go for City of Nightmares by Rebecca Schaeffer because this I actually laughed out loud when I read it. And there's just so many things in this and the sarcasm is just too much for me. So I feel like this would be a fun reread and I would definitely want to reread this. I am going to reread it when I get the sequel and then just binge it. I actually don't know how many books are supposed to be in this series. Maybe I should wait until I have like the entire thing and then binge it so I don't have to binge it more than once. Maybe that wouldn't be all that bad though. This is my pick for like a fun reread, even though it's not like 100% fun. Like there's a lot of, I want to say, like a little bit of a heavier topics in this as well. So it's not like all fun and games, but I feel like it was fun enough for me. Next up, I had to choose a palette cleansing reread. And I honestly didn't know what to go for. I was thinking Graceling, but then I was like, maybe not, because is it really palette cleansing or is it just a favorite of mine? And is that maybe the same thing? I don't know. Then I was like, okay, maybe like a romance, but then I'm like, well, again, could I call that palette cleansing? And then I was like, what even is palette cleansing? And I actually didn't really come up with anything specific to choose for this, but a book that I can always like reread and will always just put me in like the mood to read again, I think, would be The Breadwinner by Deborah Ellis. And it's also been a while since I've talked about this book on here. If you haven't read this, please do yourself the favor and read the entire series. It's not that long, and this is, I think, the longest book in the series is like 200 pages, which is the final one. And honestly, this series is just so great. So please do yourself the favor and read The Breadwinner if you haven't already. It is so easy and so fast to get through, and it really is like a palette cleansing series in my opinion. Like, it will leave you heartbroken in some ways and it will have an impact on you, but it will also make you want to read more. It has that effect on me, at least. A series reread. Now, I've wanted to reread this series for a while, but I haven't gotten to it yet because it is a little bit of a longer series. So obviously this was an obvious pick for me because why wouldn't I? Land of Stories by Chris Colfer. This is like one of my all-time favorite series, and I need to reread the entire thing soon. Maybe I should see if I can find it as like an audiobook and then just binge it. Oh, that would be amazing. I am so gonna go look for that. I am actually also working on like trying to figure out if I can get like a tattoo that kind of represents the Land of Stories, but I just still haven't figured out what I actually want that tattoo to be, but I am working on it because obviously this also needs to be represented on my body. So if I had to pick a series to reread, it would be The Land of Stories, without a doubt. Then we have an emotional reread. The first book that came to mind was this one, and I have to pick this one because this made me cry for hours on end, and I don't know why. Well, I do know why, but it made me cry, and I'm sure that if I read it again, I would cry again. So we have Monster, or technically it's A Monster Calls. This is the Danish book, that is why it's just called Monster. And it is by Patrick Ness. I will not tell you what this is about, but it is heartbreaking. And this wasn't about what I thought it was about. And when I figured out what it was actually about, I was kind of left numb. And I just remember closing the book and being like, okay. And then like a solid 10 minutes went by, and then I just burst into tears and I cried for I think about 2 hours because I couldn't let go of this book. It was just heartbreaking and also kind of therapeutic in a way. Is that the word? And it's just, I just recommended this to my best friend because he is going through something with his family. And I feel like this and the themes in this, and like, okay, he was talking to me about how he was feeling about the entire thing with his family. And the first thing that came into mind was this, because he had similar feelings to the guy in this book, Connor, I think is his name. He has similar feelings, and he feel like they're awful feelings to have. And I just thought of this book and I was like, honey, you need to read this book. You need to read it, and you need to know that your feelings are valid, even though you might feel like they're awful, but they're not. And I understand them because I have read this book. I've never felt that way. I haven't been in a situation similar to what he's going through now, but it reminded me of this book, and I'm like, I understand these feelings, and I understand that they're okay to have, and I understand that it's natural. So I am gonna give him this book. Well, not give it to him. I'm gonna lend it to him, and then he can read it because I think that would actually do him a lot of good currently. So that was just a little side story. Anyways, the final prompt is a comfort reread. A lot of people will be like, Silke, why is this your comfort book? But it is, and it's Coraline. And I know that there is absolutely nothing comforting about the story in itself, but it is what Coraline just is to me. And oh yeah, sure, let's show this. Let's show this in my comfort book. Yeah, of course. I love this. I read it like once a year. I haven't read it this year, so I haven't read it yet this year, but I am gonna. And then I'm probably also gonna treat myself to a new edition of the book because I have 3. I've read it 3 times, so I feel like that makes sense. Well, have I read it 3 times or have I only read it 2? I actually don't remember. But I think I need to get myself a new edition of this because I freaking love it. So that is my comfort book. So obviously it would be my comfort reread. It's also my comfort movie, and I accidentally bought it on in Danish the other day, and I was like, this is just so wrong because I've never seen it in Danish, because when I was younger they hadn't made like a dubbed version. So I watched it in English and I just grew so comfortable with the English version, and now I accidentally bought it in Danish and I watched it and it was so wrong. It was so wrong. That was this little tag. Here at the end, I actually kind of have a question to ask you because I am doing bacon books for Saturday. I wanted to ask you, is there any specific themes or subjects you would like me to discuss? Do you have any questions for me? Because then I could also answer them. So if you have any questions, subjects, themes, anything you would like me to discuss in like bacon books, please leave a comment down below because yes, I'm also gonna do like a couple of Instagram stories to kind of like get some answers there as well. So if you want to hop over there and put your answer in there, you can also do that. That would just be great. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment telling me, of course, any themes, subjects, questions you might have for me that you would like me to answer in bacon books. If you just want to let me know that you're here but don't know what to comment, you can always leave a green heart. If you like this video, please hit the like icon, and if you want to see more of my bookish content, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It will mean the world to me. And until I see you next time, bye!